Welcome to your Module 2 or Week 2 lecture. I firstly want to apologize for getting it posted up to you rather late, technically at the beginning of Module 3, when you're expecting to see something and you're not going to be seeing it probably until a little later today, Monday, August 30th? Today is August 30th, correct? Anyway, for those of you in the field, it might help you to kind of get up to speed with where we are on the classroom lectures and what the expectations are going to be fairly soon in week 4. So let me get a Sharpie out so we can improvise some slides here. As you may recall, we are working on 2 different modes of English composition. In your catalog, they will be referred to as argument and exposition. Now, in your textbook, so to speak, you will have some descriptions of both argument and exposition in various ways. Let me pause this and try to tell you where you can find this in your book. Okay, your textbook is titled Successful College Composition, and by now you should know how to download it, how to view it. You can download it as a PDF file and print out whatever you need and probably view it on a phone or a tablet device as well as your computer. Or if you're sitting at a computer, you can choose, there are a couple of viewing options which in my opinion are a little better than the PDF. I am currently looking at the PDF one on another screen so I can kind of help you know where in that college composition book you might find something useful. Okay, so in my opinion there's a lot of useful stuff in this book, but I mean is useful for now, for our project of getting at first this exposition essay written and then connecting it to argument. So in chapter 3 of your textbook is a section called Rhetorical Modes of Writing. Okay? This is a very important word, modes. Okay. So you see here now we have argument and exposition as modes of writing, right? And the kind of things that we use in exposition, think of its root form, to expose, right? We are exposing things, we are explaining things, right? So there are various modes that can be used for exposition, right? Such as narration, right? Which you'll find at chapter 3.1, narration, right? Narration being probably the mode of expression we learn probably at the earliest in our lives, how to tell stories and how to listen to stories of others, and quite often how to sift through the stories to figure out what the real purpose is, right? Because the purpose isn't always just to narrate, right? So 3.1 narration will give you some background on the narrative mode of writing. Another common one is description. So last Monday in class we talked a lot about the narration and description and started to recognize that these all feed into other types of writing, including argument, right? So here we go. These two, at a minimum, narration and description, are things that we should kind of know what they are, what they're about. There's also a section in the reader, right? Was it the writing for success, the reader? Well, there are 2 sections in there about the narration and description that have some visual aids also. But I think the comprehensive description is in your textbook. Chapter 3 is really where it's at. Okay, it's kind of where we've been at this week. Although we haven't really been reading Chapter 3, I've been extracting from Chapter 3 to kind of show you that these are all connected. So in Chapter 3, you will also find this classification as a mode, right? Our natural way of dividing phenomena into categories, right? Since the time of Aristotle, about 300 BC, we have been classifying, we've been organizing data before presenting it, before writing it. Something called processes, right? Or the process essay. Typically, how are things done? Or if you're giving instructions to someone, how should things be done, right? So the process essay is a way to formalize instructions and steps, how things are done, processes. Definition. Notice I'm starting the third column here. Definition, right? And that's because we use definitions not just to explain phenomena, but to make sure our terms are very clear in an argument, right? Okay. So definition is a very important part of arguing as well as explanation. So it's kind of in the middle, right? Another is comparison and contrast, right? Which are handled together in just one section, okay? 3.4 process, 3.3 classification, 3.4 process, 3.5 definition, and 3.6 is comparison and contrast. These are treated together, and they often are treated together in composition books, but comparison is more of a focus on similarities, and contrast focuses on the differences. Okay, that's the main thing done with comparison and contrast. Now, these two modes can help us understand phenomena, right? But they can also help us emphasize one thing is better or worse than another in an argument, right? So we can use comparison and contrast for purposeful argument or exposition, right? Same thing with cause and effect. Cause and effect. Right? And the final section of part 3 is persuasion, okay? Which is a form of argument, but it is not necessarily the logical argument, right? So we can, in persuasion, we like to say we appeal to logic, especially in the academic world, right? Here in college, we're trying to say that we are logical all the time, but the truth is we can also be persuaded by emotion. Humans can be, and still are, persuaded by emotion, no matter how logical they purport to be. So emotion is part of it, as well as appeals to the ethics, the values of the community around you. And that is sometimes confusing because in many ways it seems that the values of societies around us are rapidly collapsing in some aspects. So, but we still use ethical appeals in issues of right or wrong. So you see here, Chapter 3 is going to give you an overview of all these modes of writing and help you realize that they are strongly connected to argument and exposition, are the two main goals of this particular composition class. So, how does that affect our semester planning, as it were, our 8-week compressed semester in which there's some reality? A lot of you are out in the field, or even if you come back to the classroom, you're going to have to go out to field at random. You never know. Hopefully, I myself will not get injured again, so I'll be able to come into your classroom every day. But I'm putting up these weekly video lectures to both supplement the classroom and to kind of address you soldiers out there in the field. So one thing that you can do in the classroom is write, and this week I was able to get some of you to actually write a bit. So if you're in the classroom, you'll find that I'm going to basically give you a little blue notebook that you can write in, and you can practice your writing. And today, some of you are going to get those books back with some comments from me, right? And the comments are geared toward recognition that when you wrote that, you were actually brainstorming, you were putting your thoughts on paper. And not all of you were able to develop, even the skeleton of a 5-paragraph essay. Some of you were. But I was able to kind of go in and help extract those key points that it seemed you were trying to write down. You were trying to brainstorm. And if truth be said, in the in-class writing, you didn't have a whole lot of time. And this is precisely what I wanted to see, though. I wanted to see what thoughts are emerging and how I can help guide you to organizing them, at least in a skeleton, so you can start filling out your essays. Okay. So this is the beginning of week 3, right? So by end of week 4, right, these will be what we will call our midterms, right? And then by the end of week 8, these will be our finals. My intent, okay, so we see we've got midterms and finals. Okay, so the intent is that 40% of your grade is going to come from a midterm expository essay, right? Hopefully you will be able to see these connections to argument, and that you may actually see that even within expository arguments or expository essays, there actually are little arguments, right? And we're going to see that in the reading example, which I'm going to present to you toward the end of this video. In the classroom, we have selected a specific article that we can all kind of home in on and start noticing things. And hopefully today we'll have a projection system where we can start looking at that article together in the class. And perhaps, my intention is to make another recording for the week 3 lecture later, in which we incorporate some of the visuals from that article. Okay, so I may have to use another recorder to edit that together, but that is in the works. So module 3 going to be up a little later to kind of help you with the expository essay project. But where this is leading to is an argumentative essay project for your final. Right? Now, the truth be told, these are simply building on each other, okay? So that second project hopefully will not seem to you as hard or difficult to do as the first, because you'll start seeing those connections, right? Now, that's where you can get 80% of your grade, right? So where does the other 20% come from, right? So 20%, if you notice, I've got a few one-pointers already in our Canvas, right? So for example, we have 8 modules, right? And each one will include a discussion, right? Activity, and some kind of a written assignment. Now with these, you can either just give it to me, print it out, handwritten, or even email it if you're in the field. If you're in a classroom, I prefer it printed out in some fashion, okay? Or even handwritten is okay. I just like the piece of paper because I could easily respond to you. If it comes to me electronic, that's not a big deal because I do have access to the printer when I'm on site at Fort Irwin, and I'm happy to kind of print out any of your work and give you some comments, right? So, that's where 16% is going to come from, okay? And it's easy. You just got to just follow the prompt of the discussion, submit the writing assignment, and by easy, I mean it's easy to get the point, right? But I want you to try to put some quality into getting that point, and that's for your own development as a writer, right? So I want to see you participating. And what that means is that 4 points, right, come from somewhere else, right? And where do you think that they're going to come from? Right. Keep in mind, we still have a midterm and a final, right? So, that's where your 4 points are going, right? So there will be an actual test instrument with actual questions and answers. Expect to see them during week 4. And to be fair, I will probably post them with Module 4, and I might even give you a chance to retake it once or twice. I think Canvas offers that capability. And I believe that if you could take it once or twice and get some feedback on your answers, you might do better. So, midterm exam will be week 4, right? And the final exam will be week 8. But you're also going to have a deliverable, a major essay, right? And according to the course outliner record, we're shooting for approximately 3,000 words. Now, I am not really a word counting type, okay? But we have to kind of shoot for somewhere in this area, and I'm still brainstorming a way to kind of encourage you to write more words, but write more words of quality. And this 3,000 word deadline may not limit, is probably going to be a more or less thing, okay? So please don't worry about that at the moment. We'll have more information by the end of this week. So there you have it, a breakdown of your grade. Okay, 40% times 2 essays, right? Expository essay and argumentative essay. 4 points are going to come from exams, so those exams will challenge your learning, but maybe not put too much stress on you. Maybe enough, but not too much stress. And the weekly discussions and assignments, just to kind of help us get in practice and keep trying to communicate with each other. I know it's been very difficult for many of you, as it has been for me, this sense of separation. You know, we're in the class together sometimes and sometimes not, and there's a reality. I was unable to give you, say, a weekly lecture until today for last week, so apologies there. But it does seem to be coming together, at least from my perspective, and hopefully when we talk today, we'll find that you're not terribly worried about anything. But if you are, I hope to help you feel better about it by end of day. So, the main thing from week 2 is that we are exploring the different modules of learning, right? The different modes of communication, not modules of learning. We do have modules of learning in this class. We have 8 modules. Now, that's 8? That's state, right? So if truth be told, those are the default. We're expected to do something every week. So I'm going to fill in something for you guys. I'll talk to you more about that later today. Now, as to get you caught up, your written assignment for week 2 is quite simple. It's to attempt to write a 5-paragraph essay. Again, right? Just think in 5 paragraphs. What can you do? And the topic we had in class is pretty much what kind of technologies should be in a classroom, right? So I would extend that question a bit. What kind of technologies should be available in our virtual classroom as well as our physical classroom, right? Maybe expand our thinking on that. But I want you to write just a 5-paragraph essay and get it to me, okay? And I will put written instructions for that down on Module 3 shortly. So I hope to see you in class or online, and we'll just keep writing. That's about all for now.